coming to you today with another LA Colors collection, and I don't have a whole lot of time today, so I didn't get through my usual blog post. I only had enough time to go and make this Substack, so maybe I'll have an actual blog post this week, maybe I won't. It's no big deal. I already had said before, the schedule I've been working on is not sustainable for my life. But this collection is very short, which is how I was able to do it today. But I also started off here very well in a mood because before I recorded this, I read a weird Reddit comment that I just got on my blog post for the, what did I just put out? The highlighters. Oh my goodness gracious. I'm so mad in this moment that I can't think straight. I can't tell if the person is accusing me of being AI or not. I might just be totally misinterpreting the question, but we're getting to a point, and I knew this would happen in our society, where people are so AI conscious, looking for it around every corner, they start to get confused. So if you're ever on Instagram and you're reading through just various comments on viral posts, people are always going back and forth whether or not it's AI. And as AI gets more, how do you want to put it, kind of evolves and gets better, it's going to get harder and harder to tell what is AI and what is not. That's just how it's going to go. But it's kind of like being comma crazy. If you're a writer, and you let yourself get kind of comma crazy, you start seeing them everywhere, you start questioning them, right? And that's what begins happening with AI, to the point where, I've been reviewing products for 11 years. I'm going to be honest with you. I said it in my Substack and podcasts on beauty bloggers, or I talk about the death of their blog, that yes, I use AI to help me. Why would I not use it to make myself more efficient, to bounce ideas around, all sorts of things that I use it for. I don't have time to get into all of that. I know there's a lot of people out there that are totally, fully against that, and they cancel you for, even breathing anything about AI, so maybe you'll cancel me from hearing this, but it's not the first time that I've said it. But again, I've been doing this for 11 years. I buy the crap with my own money. I test it. I test stuff pretty scientifically. I'm not the type of beauty guru or whatever that buys all these new products and tests them all on their face at one time. I just can't. It just really drives me up a wall when somebody, they try a new primer and a new foundation and a new setting spray and a new powder all in one makeup look, and then they're trying to review it and tell you about it, and I'm like, well, if you don't know anything about the primer, then how do you know if it was the primer or the foundation? I always just bring in one new thing and let everything else be the control group when I'm doing stuff like that. So if I bring in a new foundation, I'm going to use a setting spray that I know the back of my hand and so on and so forth. I'm not going to use any products that extend wear or anything like that. So I take everything very seriously. And over the years, I've had to change how I write and how I do things to stay competitive with AI and search algorithms and so on and so forth. And it just does make me, really sad in those moments where people just come out and dismiss everything as AI. And I think I shared this in a blog post, whatever, podcast several months ago. I was doing my tier foundation reviews last January, February, and I was posting those in, I forget the name of the subreddit, but it was about K-beauty. And at that time, I think it was the tier silver review that I had the issue with, but it got taken down. I think it was just auto moderators maybe for being AI, and I tried to reach out to them, the actual moderators. I got ignored. I ran the Reddit post through my favorite tool for checking AI content. I use it at work for resumes and stuff. And it came back that it was human written content, and nobody would listen to me. And that blog post is human written for sure, and it just really makes me sad because that's when I was redoing everything, and those blog posts took me so much longer, and they always take me long. These pieces that I do, each and every one of them, even if it's a single product, takes hours and hours and hours. To have that happen, to have something just be canceled out for being AI because we're just thinking every single thing must be AI now. It really does get me down. And as I was talking here, and I hope I'm making sense, the person responded, and the original comment was something along the lines of, I don't comment or say this very often, but I would much rather see an imperfect review than AI. And they responded back and said, I wouldn't call yours AI, but there's a few reasons some might accuse it. It's the emojis, ChatGPT and Claude love them. The flowery language is also an indication. And finally, a neurodivergent, it's cut off, and I had to click on it. A neurodivergent, I lost my place. What the heck? I'm sorry. Folks are often accused of AI style writing. As someone on the spectrum, I spent my last year of university fervently dodging accusations of using AI. I'm not calling you ND by any means, just mentioning they go hand in hand. So now this person is saying potentially that I'm neurodivergent. Okay, so I have been doing star ratings on my blog posts for years now, I want to say. And I should not use emojis. I physically inserted the emojis from my MacBook keyboard instead of using like the weird like black stars you get when you like copy and paste things over to Reddit from the blog post. I am so confused by this comment, and like what do I say to this in real time? Hang on. I've been using a star rating system on my blog posts for years. I hand inserted these stars from the MacBook emoji keyboard. I totally get what you're saying. I use AI all the time, and I'm aware of the emojis and patterns, but to calm down, looking for AI around every corner. I just think this is ridiculous. Like, why do I fight with these people on the internet, right? Like, what kind of comment is this? Neurodivergent folks are often accused of AI style writing. As someone on the spectrum and all that, I'm not calling you neurodivergent. I'm just saying they go hand in hand. I can totally leave the stars as black HTML, but I think the emojis look better. Am I being too harsh? And then I said, I've also never been diagnosed with ND. Overall, I just think this comment is odd. I don't know. Yeah, so what's the full thing here? And then I'll move on. You know, I've been talking about this too long and I got food in the oven. I'm not one to usually comment this, but I would way prefer an imperfect review to very clear AI. And I said that this is an excerpt from my blog post. I've been reviewing makeup for 11 years. I get miffed when people are so worried about AI, they start calling the human stuff AI too. I'm just throwing that out there, but unsure what you mean. And I've already read you the reply to that. Oh, and I missed this part even though I read it out loud. I looked at your other reviews and more emojis. The only other ones I can think is when I do a collection, I do like a check mark and an X. I use emojis to lay out things so I think they're cleaner and easier to read. I also do this at work. I use like the finger point emoji, which I use in my Reddit. I just can't believe that I know that AI uses a lot of emojis. But we've also been using emojis for however long we've had like the emoji keyboard on our phones. So to call that out is AI is just like, it's weird. It'd be like going around saying people pick their nose more because of AI, so you must be AI. I just don't get it. I'm moving on to the meat of why we're actually here. But these are the real things that happen when you put yourself on the internet. Is you have people that come out and accuse you of being AI and neurodivergent. Maybe I'm just a robot. I think it's so funny. So go on being mad, man. I've been reviewing Wet and Wild since 2015. Here we are. So I would say last year at this time, like around February, it was very much so a trend to have food makeup and food in the makeup pictures and all, the whole 9 yards. And here we are today now. Dollar Tree is finally getting that. And we have the Very Cherry collection. And it's like cute, it's aesthetic, it's all of those things, outperforms expectations in some areas. Other things are kind of weird and confusing, but I guess you wouldn't have it any other way with Dollar Tree. You just wouldn't, right? So I'm just getting so distracted by the stupid Reddit comments. I am. So anyway, let me focus on this. I need to focus on this, right? But I'm going to break it all down as I always do and tell you what's going on. And first is the blush balm. So when I hear balm, I'm thinking something is usually going to be pretty glossy, sheer on the color, kind of like a kiss of color. You know what I mean? But this is actually a full-on real cream blush. So you're getting a buildable formula. It goes from like soft to like more of a sunburn flush pretty quickly, if that's what you want. It blends very well. It doesn't remove your coverage or lift your base. And I would say the finish leans like natural matte. It's not flat, it's not dry, but there's no shine, no gloss, no glitter. It's slightly tacky, and half the time when I say that, I wonder if it's just my foundation. I feel like there is no foundation or concealer or anything I've ever used that 100% dries down to the face. But anyway, it doesn't bother me. It didn't fade. I don't have a lot of issues with blush fading on my skin. I don't know. It's just not me. So it doesn't fade a whole lot at all. So I think it was really nice. Perfect color. Definitely something that I'm going to keep. I've given this 5 out of 5 stars. I am definitely not putting it into the bad bin. I will say that for sure. And of course, if you're reading along in the Substack, you can see the blush on my face. You can see the swatches, the products on my lips and everything. Next, we have the Very Cherry Lip Gloss. And it's kind of confusing. It might be your favorite. And it's also kind of like the elephant in the room, which you don't know, but I'm going to tell you. So first and foremost, it's not cherry flavored. I think they were going for cherry, and it came out to be a very like artificial, I don't know what, like it's slightly off, and it might be off-putting to you, but it's one of those things that doesn't bother me. I'm not going to stop using the product because of it, because I really like what it does for the lips. So the shade, like the tint that it gives, they're going for cherry, is kind of like somewhere between like the Just Spit and Lip and Ate a Popsicle. I think it looks really flattering and effortless. Like just throw it in your purse. You don't need a mirror, and just slap some of this on. No lip liner, and it's really pretty, right? It's not a super shiny lip gloss. It's not glassy. It's, kind of mild on the shine, but that's okay. And you're getting that sheer wash of color. It kind of looks on the lips more like a glossy lip stain sort of situation. How that you have that sheer tint and not as much glossy shine. And that's interesting because it doesn't claim to be a tint exactly, but there's a warning on the tube that says it may stain the lips, and it actually does. So as you're eating and you're drinking throughout the day, doing your life, that tint actually remains. And of course, most of the shine's gonna wear off, but a little bit kind of hangs on the lips if you look carefully in the mirror, right? The formula is lightweight. It's not sticky. It's thinner than a traditional gloss. It is very easy to wear and to reapply if you want to. It's not like the color gets overboard or it doesn't like gunk up or anything like that. So I do wish the flavor was better, that it was different, but it's not so bad that I'm going to throw it in the trash. So this has also been spared from the bad bin. and I'm giving it 5 out of 5 stars. I think it is great to reach for the summer. I think just the shade is very summer forward, and the idea that it is just effortless. And if you like that color, you're going to like it. Now we get kind of weird with the other two products, and they have a lip balm, and I like the clear package. It kind of reminds me of what's the name of it, from Elf, the Seriously satin lipsticks, right? I kind of like that undone clear package look, you know. However, I'm a little bit confused. I think they wanted it to give some tint, and it's like you're layering it on, and you get just a hint of that cherry color, and you really can't build it up, and it's not really shiny either. Most like regular lip balms, you're not going to buy like a Blistex and get all the shine, right? So it's true in that sense, but it doesn't leave your lips feeling any sort of way. It doesn't condition them or anything of that nature, right? So your lips don't feel nourished. It's not drying them out. You're not getting as much tint as you think you would get. I think it's just confusing, like I don't get it. So, you know, it's for the bad bin, 2 stars. I must be AI because after I had this whole post finished, the Substack, I went in and I added a star rating with stars. I hit the FN button on my MacBoard keyboard, and it pulls up the emoji keyboard. That's how I have it set, and I select those yellow stars. So, oh my gosh. And then finally here we have the Very Cherry Lip and Cheek Oil. And oh my gosh, I saw on Instagram that this is a dupe of a product, I think of a high-end product. And now I can't remember what it is because I've not seen it very many times. So there's some high-end product that's like a lip and cheek oil. I was afraid of this. It definitely has an identity crisis going on. So you're telling me that I'm putting oil on my cheeks over my foundation and everything. I'm thinking, oh, this is going to take all my makeup off as soon as I go to blend it. I did it for science, okay? I put it on the lips. I put it on the cheeks. So on the lips, it's a lip gloss. It doesn't have the flavor issue of the actual lip gloss. It essentially has the same tint, the same staining effect, has a little bit of shine. So it's really, really similar on the lips to the lip gloss, but it's an oil. Okay, whatever. It doesn't leave your lips feeling any sort of way. None of the products here do anything really for your lips. Okay, you get some tint. You put it on the cheeks, you accept your fate. It works. It did not disturb my makeup underneath. It makes you wonder how oily it really is. You can build it. But you have to keep in mind, it's an oil, so it's never going to dry down. So if you go outside, it's windy, your hair's down, it's going to stick in your face. It will. And it's going to give you that like wet look kind of sheen, which you have to like. I just wore it as my highlighter that day. I wasn't even going to attempt to layer anything over top of the oil. So you know what? It works for that. It didn't fade. I think that's impressive. I would think with my hair getting in it, but I really couldn't tell a difference, okay? But the way that I see it is you already have a blush that's blushing. I don't really know if you need this in this collection. And that's what I'm going to get into here. You know, the big picture. Is it worth it? These 4 pieces. I thought we would see like a variety of things. And, you know, 3 out of the 4 are for lips. And you probably could just put the blush on your lips. It didn't say that I didn't test that, but you can always kind of do that with a cream blush product, right? So they're all the same color for the most part, right? Very similar finishes. It starts to feel redundant. So the lip oil is trying to do an impression of the gloss, the blush at the same time. And I wasn't into the lip balm. So here's what I think. If you're going to buy anything from this collection, I would get the blush, the actual blush balm, and I'd get the lip gloss. And I would skip the lip balm and I would skip the oil. If you really, really want like a lip oil formula, you want the glossy cheek, then you can do that. But for me, the oil and the lip balm has gone to the bad bin. I can't keep everything. It's a lot of makeup. Everything shares a similar tone. So once you have 1 or 2 of these products, you're not missing out on the cherry theme. You got it, okay? So it's not a collect your prize sort of thing here, right? You don't have to collect them all. Pick what you want, pick the formula that you're into, and move on. All right. And we had another Reddit comment here, which we'll end on. I every so often I'll get accused of AI on Reddit, and I had one person that stood up for me and is like, when you've been doing it as long as this person's been doing it, you do write in a particular way. You learn how to do a good review. I really learned from years of YouTube videos of ye old, beauty influencers describing things taught me how people want to hear about product. So the reply is, yeah, it sucks, dog. I didn't think it was AI, but creative fields like art, makeup, and writing are tied to identity and self-expression. People suspect AI. It feels very personal. So I'm gonna go because I gotta take my food out of the oven. That's what the beeping is. But just so I don't get it. And I should say the person that's been replying is not the person that actually called my post AI or not AI. They just said it sucks. Well, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna type my reply and I'm gonna go because I don't want this whole podcast to be anything but fun and lighthearted as we're talking about makeup. But crap happens and AI is here to stay and it is what it is. So I gotta go. Thank you for listening. Let's be happy and be positive.